Beaumont and welcome back to Get Published TV. This is the only dedicated show on the internet to help you to write, publish and market your own best-selling book. Now if you're watching yesterday's episode, we had a little bit of an event and a minor interruption when our whiteboard came crashing down. Thanks for the comments that we've had in relation to that. We have since fixed the whiteboard, so fingers crossed it should be much sturdier this time around. But if it happens to fall down again, then we may need to make some other plans. But anyway, let's continue. Where are we going today? Today we're going to be looking at book titles again. That's the theme that we've been on for the last few days, and we are continuing to push through. This should be the last video where we actually look at the seven styles or the seven themes that we actually started with. To quickly recap, we looked at short titles, long titles, shock titles, story or metaphor titles, common sayings with a twist, personal brand, and also, series title, and the last one we're going to look at today, number 7, is personal brand. Personal brand. So with this one, personal brand, we're going to give you just a couple of examples. This one is maybe a little bit more obscure. It may not be, unless you actually have developed a personal brand, it may not be right for you, but I do want to share it with you anyway because it just might be. I'll go through a book. This person is mainly well known in Australia. He's called The Barefoot Investor. So his book is actually called The Barefoot Investor, which is actually his, let's just call it his media or his stage name. And because what he does, he's a guy that teaches financial planning for people in their 20s and 30s, so younger people, how to take control of their finances and begin investing. And he's called the Barefoot Investor because he walks around everywhere bare feet. And even when he does media interviews, he'll sometimes put his feet up on the desk, and he'll do it with, thankfully I'm wearing shoes today, but he'll do it with his bare feet. So he always kind of gets noticed because he's, again, someone that's just doing something, a little bit differently. So what he's done is he's developed a whole brand and a persona around the Barefoot Investor, and therefore he's naturally called his book The Barefoot Investor because it already has name recognition. So another one, these are just off the top of my head now, these may or may not be real books, but I remember that there was a guy that I saw, I think it was on the Today Show, and his name was, can't remember what his name was, but he was dubbed as the Human Calculator. And so the host of the show would say, what's 750 times 340? And he would just be able to give the answer like that. So he called himself the Human Calculator, and therefore if he was ever to write a book, then having a book called The Human Calculator would probably be a really good thing to do. And then of course you could back that up with having a really descriptive subtitle, for example, how to unleash your inner mathematics genius or something along those lines that tells you what the book is about, or how to get better grades at school, whatever. But again, think that through. There's another person that I know, she's a person based in the US. Her name is Ali Brown. Sorry, I had a mental blank for a second there. And Ali Brown, she's known as the e-zine queen, and which is e-zine articles, and she talks about how to write e-zines or e-newsletters. And so having a book called the e-zine queen or e-zine queen, and then your guide to how to write the perfect newsletter for your business could be a really good title, because she's already invested so much time and energy and money into building that into being her personal brand, because it already has name recognition. That's probably another good way to go. Another person who is here in Australia, her name is she calls herself the Productivity Queen. So that could be another good way to go as well. We've obviously got some noises happening in the background. Hopefully that's not coming through the microphone and you can still hear me clearly. We'll keep soldering on and pushing through. So hopefully you got the idea. It may have seemed a bit obscure at the beginning, but hopefully now it's you've understood. That was my purpose, is understanding each of those 7 different styles of books that you can actually write. So again, go back through if you haven't already and watch the last few episodes, and then you'll be able to put together all these pieces of the puzzle. And the exercise that I said at the very beginning was to sit down with yourself or with a group of people and actually sit down and actually brainstorm, not just with all these random book titles coming from everywhere, but go through, explain to them, or even show the other people with you these videos, and so they understand each of these 7, and then say, let's only focus on number 1. Let's try to exhaust that particular style. Then we're going to go on to number 2, number 3, number 4, and by the time you got to the end, you should have 10 or maybe 20 in each list, which will give you somewhere in the vicinity of 50 to 70 or 80 different titles, and then you can go through and start narrowing it down. And you'll probably, Mark Victor Hansen talks about that when you come up with the title that's right for you, you get goosebumps, you kind of feel it, it's something happens inside and you go, that's the one. You'll get that moment, but you don't know where it's going to come from, and it may not be the obvious one, it may be something from completely left field. And again, if you're watching the last video, the video before that, I spoke about a friend of mine, Michelle Bowden, and her book title, which is called Don't Picture Me Naked. Again, when I said that one, I just knew that something happened inside me. I said, that's the one, and she felt the same way as well. But it came from completely left field. It was something that I wasn't expecting, but because I had my formula, I worked through it, and one of them was a shock title, and I forced myself, okay, Dale, think about shock titles, and that came up. But if I hadn't have had that plan that I've just given you, then who knows, we may never have come up with that title. So, it's been quite a big journey over the last few days. We've covered a lot. And I just want to say this is just so important. So hopefully, it's locked in your brain, and you can now put this into action. And I would love to hear what you come up with as a result of the last few videos. Maybe it sparked some incredible titles for you. If it has, then please put them into the comment section. Let us know. If you've maybe in a bookshop and you see a title and you go, haha, that's a shock title, or that's a metaphor title, let us know so we can continue this conversation further. Thanks again for watching. As always, please stay connected with us through the email, Facebook, Twitter, RSS, or iTunes. And again, we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Get Published TV. Thanks for watching.